everybody. Welcome to Get Mom Ready, where we help women navigate the tension between work and life and all of the things, which is why I'm excited to have Shelby Nelson join us today for a conversation around feeding our babies. But that's only part of it, because really it's about our relationship with ourselves as we feed our babies. And I am excited about this conversation for a few reasons. Number one, because each of us, Hannah, Anna, Meredith, and myself, well, and Shelby, have all had different experiences with feeding our babies. I mean, every woman does, right? But I think for me, I'll just speak for myself. It was very different than I expected it to be. And there are commonalities, but also such unique differences with that experience. And then recently, I've had two friends bring up in conversation about how surprised they've been in weaning off of nursing, and just the conversations they're having with themselves and their identity related to it. And I was like, man, that's so interesting, because I personally can't relate to that feeling because I pumped. If you have not heard my story, go back and listen to my pumping, and breastfeeding was a big part of my story for the first couple of weeks of having a baby. Wait, postpartum, that's the word. I'm like, there's a word for this. What
was that stage again?
Anyway, I shared it here on Get Mom Ready, and then I also shared it over on Shelby's podcast. Yes, Shelby's podcast is called My Best Friend, and it's so good. So I shared it there too. So Shelby, I want to hear your story, and then I kind of want to open that topic, and particularly with Hannah and Meredith, who have nursed all the way through and are still, I think, on that journey, have you guys share in particular. So our mothers who are like thinking about that can just have a conversation to hear different moms' perspective on nursing, breastfeeding, pumping, identity, and all of the things.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so complicated. Sorry, I don't know if I talked over anybody. It is so complicated. Like, we tie so much of our identity into how we feed our babies as moms. And I think it's because breastfeeding is a relationship, and we pull a lot of identity from the relationships in our lives. And so it makes a lot of sense that it would be very meaningful to us.
That's awesome.
Shelby, you're at ICBLC, right? Like, you have women in your office.
I am.
Almost.
Almost. I just took the exam to certify
Congrats.
as an IBCLC. Thank you. It's a big step.
That's a big deal.
journey.
Yeah.
Yes. Huge deal. Like,
It's a very big
feel
deal.
a little bit euphoric
Creme de la creme.
after. Yes.
It is.
Trying to be very hard. Yes.
You are practicing with women, right? Like you're in relationship with women who are on the breastfeeding journey or who are hoping to be in whatever capacity. So my question for you is, in that context, like, what do you feel like you hear? Like, let me ask you this way. What are some common themes that you hear often?
I mean, the most common theme, I think, is that no one expected it to be this hard, and that, like, all the preparation and education that people do before baby comes, somehow it's just not enough. We can't quite grasp, like, the huge change in ourselves that comes after baby is here, and the ways that our body is different, our brain is different, and we're being pulled in all these different directions. And I think that the unexpected nature of feeding babies is like number one top theme.
It's almost like, well, okay. I remember a friend of mine, well, I was still pregnant, and she, I don't know, her baby's a few months older than Ethan, now a toddler at this point. But she said to me something about motherhood being a steep learning curve. And I swear to you, that's all I needed to hear. For whatever reason, it unlocked in my brain, like, oh, there are things that you don't know that you can't know. And so that kind of ties back to the point of, well, like, no one tells you. It's like, maybe they did, but you don't have ears to hear it, because how could you? How could you? It's okay. But it's like, why would you ingest that? You wouldn't. I didn't. So, like, totally. It's this interesting thing of, like, it's such a learning curve. I don't know what locked into gear for me. I'll never forget where I was walking in my neighborhood when I heard her say it in her voice note. And I thought, that is going to be my North Star, because I have to remember this is completely new territory. Yes, it's my body. Yes, I've had this body for, at that point, 38 years. it's about to do some very different things. Some things that when I tell you, when I first learned how to express in my ICBLCs, she's amazing. I love her so much in Emily's office. I was like, what? The body can do what? Like I knew I'd be able to produce milk. I knew that would come and happen. But when she was like, I mean, yeah, you can start expressing now and collecting colostrum. I was like, this is hysterical. Nothing is going to come out. And I'm like, incredible. It was the coolest, most exciting, most like crazy thing ever. And I don't know where I was going with that, but just it proved to me like, oh, wow, it's about to get different up in here. And in the hardest moments, and believe you me, there were aplenty. I'm like, steep learning curve, like this is like basically normalizing. This is part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
I think that's always so true of like, everyone always says, no one told me this. And I'm like, I think we did, but it just, you couldn't hear it. Like, or you heard it. If someone's like, oh, it's going to be hard. You're like, oh yeah, hard. Okay. But like, I'm really like, I'm tough. So, you know, for
context matters a lot. And we don't have any of it before baby is here.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter what anybody says to us until we're there in that moment.
Nobody, and I do mean nobody, could have prepared. No, there's no mental preparation you can do. Maybe there's some physical preparation. The first clamp of your child's mouth on your nipple, I don't think I'll ever be the same. I think my body will keep that score for a very long time. It was toe curling. I'm grabbing everyone's hands around me like this. I didn't have a vaginal delivery, but I'm like, this might, if I had had one, you would have thought this is worse for her than whatever. I was unwell. That said, that's not everybody's experience. Like, I think that's also helpful to remember is like, no, like some things we don't need to talk about too much, because if I was listening to this podcast and I was about to be a new mom and I had never experienced, I'm like, oh my God, this scares me. It's like, well, okay. But that truly doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your story, at all. And truly, thank God, most things are figure outable. There's a solution to a lot of this stuff. The professional help out there that exists is unbelievable. So like, all shall be well. And your nipple might hurt, but that's okay.
And well, Shelby, let's kind of share your journey because you're a mom of two. Share your journey to becoming and I'm going to get the acronym wrong, but this exam that you've just done and all of the things and like why you're passionate about this. Would love to hear that part of your story.
Okay, great. Yeah. So like you said, I am a mom of two, became a mom like at the dawn of COVID. It was literally the day that the hospital system went on lockdown in Houston. They got their first COVID patient. So like, even if I would have done a ton of preparation, which I did not, it would have not prepared me for that huge shift that I did not expect. But I faced a lot of nursing challenges with him. You name it, he was dealing with it and I was dealing with it too. And I was dealing with it in isolation. Yeah. And, thank God I found an amazing IBCLC who I was able to see virtually. And she was I say older woman, but like she seemed like a grandmotherly figure to me. Yeah. And she just like wrapped me up and was like, it's going to be okay, honey. Like, we're going to figure this out. Yeah. And so meeting with her and getting that support really changed everything for me. And I ended up nursing him until, he was like 22 months old. And then that, our relationship shifted and I got pregnant with my second. And that is when I started the journey to becoming an IBCLC. When I got my lactation education, I had her. And then whenever she started daycare is when I went back to start earning clinical hours. I mean, I faced a ton of breastfeeding issues with her too, but I went into it with like, okay, I know that I'm not alone. I have this amazing support system to lean on. I can call my IBCLC and talk to her, which I did like 1,000 times. So yeah, that just, I don't know if I answered your question or if I have anything else.
Yeah. Well, and talk to the folks who might not know ICBLC, right? I'm so bad with
I did it wrong. I did it that way. And I'm sorry.
You're good.
What is it? And talk to us about, because I've been following you. You should follow Shelby on social media. She does a great job of her social media presence. But I've been following you preparing for this exam and it's intense. So just kind of share the scope of what that means for people who are listening that might not know.
So the acronym is IBCLC, Internationally Board Certified Lactation Consultant. And basically, I mean, we are I don't know. I'm sorry. I say we. I'm not there yet. I'm trying to speak confidently as if I am.
Yeah.
Which you should.
Manifesting this. I will hopefully be joining this elite league of lactation consultants who, have an immense educational background. They have hands-on experience with dealing with mother-baby dyads. Really any feeding relationship an IBCLC is qualified to help with. Whether you are direct nursing, pumping, the combination of the two. We are also qualified to help in formula feeding. A lot of people don't know that. They think of IBCLCs as people who would shame people for choosing to use formula in their journeys, and that's 1,000% not the case. The education that I did going into this, I mean, a lot goes into it. You have to have health science courses like at the college level that luckily I was able to bypass because of my background as a speech therapist. And then you do your lactation education, which I did through UCSD. And then you do clinical hours on top of that, where you are hands-on, shadowing people, communicating with clients. I did all of my stuff virtually, which was really fun. Because I feel like that is like the new wave of lactation care, is seeing people virtually, or really a lot of healthcare is virtual now. Yeah, that's IBCLC in a nutshell.
Well,
oh,
and then
testing.
the test.
The testing. Oh my God, I forgot about that. So then you have to apply to take the test, which they only offer twice a year. So there's so much build up and anticipation to doing this big thing. I applied to take the exam. I studied, and then you take the exam, and it's offered around the world. It's an international certification. So you have to think very globally. What would work for a mother in the jungles of Thailand? What would work for a mother in New York City? What would work for someone in the Arctic? Like, you just have to think in such a broad way and have such a vast array of knowledge.
That's so cool, Shelby. And so you just took it like 2 weeks ago, right? Was it like 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
tax day, April 15th.
Oh,
Easy
what
to
a
remember.
day.
Yeah. Let's just
And
pile it
then-
on today.
And then you were just telling us before we started recording that it takes 10 to 12 weeks to
Yeah.
even hear back if
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
licensed.
Yes. If we get that
Ugh.
certification, it takes a long time. So I'm on all these message boards and Facebook groups of people who have taken this exam, and everybody's like, so now we just have to wait. Like we don't like, just, it's such, I don't know, it's such a weird headspace. Like, we work so hard, we do this thing, and now what?
Don't find
Yeah.
out for,
Like,
so long.
tell me the good news or not. So
Yeah.
it's a nice
All the
flex.
build up and then the come down. And then
Yeah.
it's like, what now? What do I
Yeah,
do?
totally.
That's awesome.
I do want to get back. Well, I guess, Holly, did you have another question about the?
I think you're going to go where I was thinking. So go for it.
Okay. I want to get back to talking about, because Hannah and Meredith both breastfed and Holly and I both pumped for a long time, and we're figuring that out. But Holly, when you were asking the question about Hannah and Meredith's kind of identity shift, or, just whatever that feels like, whatever that comes with, I'm just curious to jump to that topic and understand what that feels like and what y'all have experienced with that as you've started, and then as you've thought about stopping and everything in between.
Yeah, okay. So that's a great question. So after having, I mean, most people that are on here know this, that my first, she's almost 9, and we had a really hard time just getting off the ground. And I was like, I don't care what I have to do. Like, I am going to make this work. I probably drove myself crazy because I was just like, we're going to do this. It was like the triple feeding, all that stuff. She ended up having a tongue tie. So we had that fixed, and it took her about probably until she was about 3 months old for her to latch consistently and actually transfer. So the first 3 months was like pumping and supplementing and trying to, and because of like her lack of latch in the beginning, like my supply was really low. So it was like having to like bring back up a supply that was like really low from her not transferring, like all of this stuff. And
So
it
much work.
was, yeah, it was like my entire maternity leave. Like it was like I went back to work, and then she started latching, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Now?
Like, I literally, and I couldn't imagine. People were just like, oh, maternity leave is so great. Like, you just get to like snuggle this like cute baby. And I was like, we didn't get that. Like, we did not.
Yeah, it's not a
get-
vacation for everybody. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, we didn't get the calm. Like, you just get to watch TV on the couch. Like, this was stressful. So then with my second, I was a little more like, okay, you know what? Like if she doesn't latch, I'll just pump. And then when she gets old enough or big enough or whatever, she'll latch. Like she'll just do it. Because I think, again with my first, I was like, the nipple confusion, crazy. But I'm like, she latched after 3 months. It was fine. It wasn't, she was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, with my second, I just held things a little looser, and I also had a toddler, so I was like, we don't have time to triple feed. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pump, and you're gonna get a bottle. And I had my sister moved in with us, and so we had help, and but also the pumping was really lonely. I just remember being like kind of like in a corner. The pump I really liked was the one that plugged into the wall. That felt like it was like the old Medela.
So
That
good.
was like
Yeah.
yeah, it was like
The workhorse.
square. Yeah, yeah, that was like
Yep.
The workhorse.
like it was so intense, and I just felt like it had the best output, whatever. So then we got her tongue tie fixed a lot sooner, and so then she latched after that, and she went on to nurse. My kids were asking me about this the other day, but she went on to nurse over a year. So my first nursed for over a year, but not very far over a year. I'm thinking 13, 14 months. I don't remember the exact stop, but I'm thinking it was August and she was born in May. So a year and 3 months or so. And my second, kind of similarly, I think it was longer than the first, but not, which I'm like, does everybody remember exactly how long? So I'm like, I don't really remember how long it was. I feel like it was longer than Charlotte was, but not that much long, maybe 15 months or 16 months. I don't remember if it was a year and a half. But anyways, my youngest now, my third, is I think 19. Yeah, she'll be 19 months this month. And so she's still nursing. I went on a trip the other week and I was a little like, ugh,
How was that?
yeah. And my oldest was like, Mom, this might be the last time you ever nurse in your entire life. And I was like,
Laying it on thick.
mm-hmm. I was like, you might be right. And she was like, how do you feel about that? I was like, I don't know. Like it was just so, she was just like,
Oh my
this might
God.
be it. And so it wasn't it like when, and again, I was talking to my best friend about it and she was like, you guys have been relating this way for 18 months. I really don't think it's just going to stop after, 3 days and so I was like, well, I don't know. And Dave was texting me and he was like, she's doing great. She's doing fine. She's not asking for you. I'm like, okay.
Were you expressing while you were away? Just curious.
I did, or I pumped. My best friend I had forgotten mine, of course. I was like, oh, I'll bring a hand pump.
Oh my
'Cause I'll be
gosh.
like, yeah, I was like, I'll bring a hand pump, like, fine. But then I forgot it. But she had one. So, that
Nice.
she gave me and I was like, okay, I'll use it. So I probably pumped like only once or twice a day.
Yeah.
Because even so now Nora probably eats to go to sleep at night, to go down for naps, and then sometimes when she wakes up from a nap and then when she wakes up in the morning. So like it's really not that much. And if she wakes up in the middle of the night, then I will nurse her. So I don't think she's getting that much. And again, still because she'll be like other side. Like, she'll be like if I nurse her on one side, then she'll be like,
Love that
okay.
communication.
And like she'll point to the other. She doesn't say like other side, but she'll be like,
Oh, okay. I was
point.
like, dang, she's asking for the other breath.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, so you know what? That's what I'm remembering now that Penny used to do is that she would say other side. Okay.
Aww.
And so yeah, so she'll point to the other one and be like milk, and so I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, okay, well, now you've done both sides. I don't think there's that much left. I think so. I can feel that it's ending soon. Just in that there's not that much milk left. She's not getting as much. Which I know it's more than that, obviously more of a relationship than just the milk. But also I'm like, one, I'm sad because I mean that's really my only trick for the middle of the night. So if she doesn't, like I
Like,
feel
what do you
like,
do now?
yeah, like Dave has had to like
I
rock
feel that
her, like
deeply.
pat,
Deeply.
Wait, say that again.
I feel that deeply. It's like this huge trick, this magic wand that you can wave over your kid to be like, fall asleep, here you go. And they'll do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I do feel a little maybe more nervous about that I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so much more work to get her to sleep and whatever. But she does also know how to go to sleep on her own. She wakes up sometimes in the middle of the night and she falls back asleep on her own. And so
Yeah, you could be totally surprised by what she is able to do. I mean, you could wean her and I mean, she could be a total rock star. Like
yeah,
it could be
exactly.
an amazing transition. You just don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah. But I do think, I mean, as time goes on and Dave and I talk, I'm like, I think this is it. I don't think we're having any more kids. And so it does feel sad to be like, okay, this is over. Or when it is over, like closing, kind of closing that. And I think I said it last week on the podcast that even my mom will say this, but even like other older women will say this. If they see me nursing her, they'll be like, wow, that's the thing I miss the most from having young kids. And I'm like, oh, that's so sad. Just, and it makes sense. Like their kids are teenagers or their kids are grown or whatever. And so them being like, oh, that's just like sweet connection. It's like they have a little need and you can fill it so simply. Obviously I know it's not easy, but like simply that when you have teenagers and they're stressed about something or whatever. So I do know the feeling of like sadness I think it'll be sad. I think it'll be great in other ways, but I do think
and I just want to normalize the like back and forthness of all of this. I went through that when I was weaning my daughter. She was like 2.5 when we finally, like, that was it. But for the 6 to 8 months before that last nursing session, I did a short little series on this on my Instagram. It was like, do I want to wean today? And it was a different answer every day. Yes, no, yes, no. And like even throughout the day, I would start the day with being like, yes, we are weaning today. I'm so over this. And then that night I'd be like, oh my God, this is the best. Like, I don't ever want to stop this. So that uncertainty and the back and forthness, like I said, is so normal. Like, and to be going through that, I mean, I relate so much. And I know that many, many women out there who are, extended breastfeeding are like, yeah, girl, I know what you're talking about.
Awesome. What about you, Meredith? Anything you want to, in your journey that you want to share, like, especially the decision to wean?
Well, I have a bit of I'm over here like, God, how am I going to come across and sound? I know it's all welcome here, but I'm like,
I guarantee you I'm going to sound the most cold about breastfeeding out of anybody. So if you are insecure, then just,
it was so, first of all, it was very hard won. Like it was woof even my lactation consultant said, she loved Ethan and she loved me, and it was, but we saw her a lot. I was in that office a lot. And she's like, at some point looked to me like, I'm almost out of answers. I don't know what's going on here. And he did have every tongue, lip, cheek tie in the freaking book. We got it all fixed in the buckle and the whole thing. But he still wasn't. The exercises can go straight to hell where they came from. They're horrible. They're horrible. I'm like, Scott was like, I always made him do it. And he's like, our baby will hate us. Like, hate me. I'm like, yeah, he can hate you, not me. So, and then I would really, really not look. I remember one of my best friends called, Scott sent out like basically a bat signal to one of my best friends and called me or called him to talk to me. Cause I'm like, we have to do this every 3 hours for the foreseeable future. I was just in a state and like, this cannot be it. This cannot be it. And she's like, yeah, it's, yep. And so anyway, it's like, you can commiserate and then you just have to let it out. And so for me, the beginning journey was so involved. It was so involved. And there was so much mental, it was the triple feeding, the double feeding, but also I was reading Fourth Wing at the time. So like pumping, I was like, you know what? I'm going to have me in my book. Someone else can deal with this. And I'm just going to get up at whatever time of night. I'm going to read my little chapter and be just fine. And so like, it was fine. For a time, I was like, I'm just going to pump because this latch thing is for the birds. Eventually I got into a position where I forgot my pump, I think at home, or it wasn't where something happened. We were traveling and I'm like, okay, my guy, this is it.
Do it.
Hop on the boob. Wow. And he got it. And thank God. Cause I was like, wait, this is actually, it got easier once he got bigger. And cause they always kept saying, his mouth has got to get a little bigger. And he was born just a little tree frog. And then he got big. And I was like, thank you. And it hurt less. And it was more like everything about it. I was less clenched because when I tell you, I thought I'm going to have the tightest ass ever because it's clenched. I said it multiple times. I'm like, oh, my ass is going to be high and tight because I am clenched every 3 hours. Y'all can ask my best friend if I didn't say that multiple times. It's not, it's still pancake ass that moms, I don't know.
Mom butt. Yeah.
Mom butt. I'm like, I don't, you hip throws your life away, but I'm a flat pancake ass is my destiny. Anyway, all that to say,
Yeah,
it
hip
was
thrust
just
is that
so hip thrust. I mean, you can do all
The
that
hip
weighted
thrust.
stuff, but like, have fun, flat. Anyway,
Oh.
all that to say, it was so involved. And then it got so much like the mental load lifted. It felt so much more doable, easy. I was becoming a woman I didn't even know I was gonna be. I'm lifting up a bathing suit on the beach, like, we're here, baby. And if a nip slips, I don't know what to tell you. I'm feeding a human. I mean, it just became a nothing burger. And I'm so grateful for that. And I don't miss it. I loved it. Loved to, I think there were a lot of moments I loved. I think I grew to
Wait, are you guys
appreciate it
done?
deeply.
I think I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
done
Hey,
for
I didn't know that.
four,
I didn't know that either.
4 or 5 months. I
Wow.
weaned him at like 11 and a half months ish, right
Okay.
before we went to Hawaii.
Okay.
And it was an interesting process because we were starting solids and I was learning all about that. And
Wait,
it was
I'm like,
so
I can't
fun.
believe you didn't tell me.
I know, sorry.
What's happening on
You were,
air?
That's
I
so
thought you
tender.
were still nursing too, Meredith. I
No,
thought when
no,
you were
no.
here in Houston, you were still nursing for some reason. I don't
The
know
time
why.
I was there, I hadn't been to Hawaii, but second time, Hawaii for vacation, not for Hawaii work. I'm sorry. Hawaii, big Hawaii, when I was like recording from Hawaii and there for
Yeah.
2.5 months. Yeah, nursing. We came back and we're home, and then we wanted to go to vacation there to celebrate Ethan's first birthday. And I was weaning, actively weaning, like dropping feeds because he really took to solids. Okay. And at one point I looked at my little roly poly and I was like, I truly think I'm overfeeding you. Like, I think we're good to not eat from me 5 times a day and 3 meals at the capacity you're eating them. Like, honestly, like, I just like, my little nutritionist heart was like, I think he's okay. And so I'm chatting with ChatGPT. I'm listening to the Katie Ferraro podcast, who's the course I took starting solids, or not start. That's the app. That's not her. A different person. Anyway, she's phenomenal. But I was like, oh, you can like drop feedings when they start eating solids. And my child, when I tell you, took 2 solids. I was like, it just felt intuitive for
great.
both of us. And so it was kind of this like figuring it out, but I was doing it in this very literally baby led kind of way, like truly intuitively for me, watching him, like, I'm not going to offer if you're like not coming. So I was like, okay, let me just kind of ride this out. And it was honestly, it was a really cool process. Like, I was like, wait, should I become a nutritionist for kids? Because that's so much, this is awesome. Because then the weaning process was easier for me. Like, that felt like so nerdy and cool, like compared to feeding him in the first 3 months. And so I was like so excited. Also, I love food. I loved, like, all of that was just so life-giving to me. So the more like I intuitively leaned into that, and the more I kind of was watching him, like, let's see if he takes to it, whatever, it just kind of ended up. I remember sitting on my couch because I'm like, I'm probably to the point, I think I was just doing night feedings at that point. Like, he was 3 solid meals a day. And I was again asking ChatGPT. I'm sorry, it's because I'd already used all my consult, whatever, my insurance covered things, counseling sessions with my IBCLC.
Yes.
So it was me and ChatGPT and some podcasts. So I
use what you got.
apologize, but this is what I had. So anyway, I'm like, according to Katie Ferraro, what is the, all the things. Okay. So we're doing that. And I just thought, and Scott was like, do not wean him before we get on an airplane to Hawaii. And I was like, my guy, I think he's going to be okay. There's other things. Like, he is eating other things. Like, we're okay. It's like this became
don't wean him before
he's
we're
like, don't do.
going
And I was like,
airplane.
I feel like this is me and like, not to discount Scott by any means, but I was like, there was this like cool symbiotic thing happening between me and Ethan where I'm like, you good, guy? You're good. Oh, you want to? Okay, great. And so but it was intuition plus a little bit of structure, enough structure to hold the intuition, and vice versa, if that makes any sense. So all that to say, sitting here, and I was like, and I nighttime feeding, and he just was like, I mean, like, that was it. Like, it wasn't even 5 minutes. It might've been 30 seconds. And I was like, my guy, I think you're good. Like, you don't need this to sleep. You're kind of like, I mean, sure, mom, if you want to stick a boob in my face, but it just felt like, this might be it. And so the next night came, and it was fine. I'm like, oh, I think I just weaned my little boy. Like, it was just kind of this thing that happened. And I had this moment, this is where I'm going to sound, however I'm going to sound, I don't know, where I thought, this is motherhood. There are stages for everything, and you grieve everything. Motherhood is grief. I don't know how else to say it. It's joy and grief always at the same time. And so literally, Meredith, will have 1,000 seasons where it's like, that was the last time. And I could cry talking about every last time I'm going to have. And if I did that, I'd never stop crying. So I sort of did the
Totally.
Enneagram 7 thing where I'm like, okay. And I honored it. And I like was like told I stopped weaning. And but I was like proud of myself for doing it, but also food is so fun. It was this whole mix of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the truth is there will be an end to everything in motherhood. And I celebrate that happened. I love it. And our relationship is still special. And you still he's like a little dog. He puts his head right here and we just kind of nuzzle. And so I'm like, it continues in different ways. And it's like, I knew that. And it was sort of like, all right, my dude, that was great, wasn't it? On to the next version of our relationship.
So good, Meredith. That's so cool.
I love that you talk about, it was this symbiotic relationship of like he was sending you signals, you were cluing into those signals and watching him. And, breastfeeding is a relationship. There's two pieces of this relationship. And, there can be parent-led changes and there can be baby-led changes. And it sounds like Ethan was ready and you were totally clued into that. Oh, bless you. Sorry. I don't know if I should acknowledge that. I'm not used to recording with so many people.
It is challenging.
It's a crew.
You're doing great. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really beautiful that you acknowledged that it was a relationship and it was like a two-person decision. Because then we have, Hannah, who is still breastfeeding and wrestling with this relationship change and the decisions. And so it kind of, maybe it's a little bit baby-led and maybe a little bit mom-led, parent-led. There's just all these different ways that the relationship can look.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm kind of I'll let her decide at this point. I think there were times in the past, maybe 6 months, where I'm like, I'm done. And then, kind of like you're saying, I'm like, this is it. But now that she's sleeping better, like, I'm like, okay, well, it's not really taking, like it's
sleep
not
is a
really
huge piece of it.
inconvenient. It's not, and so then I'm like, oh, that's okay. But I will, if she asks for it and we're out and about or we're like doing something, I'm like, no, here's your water. Like, here's this, like, if
you're setting your
hungry,
boundaries.
you can have a snack. Like, it's just for, nap time and nighttime. And like, and so I do, there is a twinge of, I feel bad, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like what Meredith is saying is that there's grief, like motherhood is grief, and these changes are going to bring grief. And I think also accepting that and keeping that in the back of our minds as we move through motherhood is, it really takes off some of the stress and burden of the changes of seasons.
It's sort of back to the normalizing of like, I keep hearing him and I'm like, I stop and then he's quiet. And okay. Anyway, it's back to the idea of normalizing. It just sort of is. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like just
totally.
Yeah. There's something about the normalizing. I think that helps take the sting out of it, even though it is just, I mean, truly, if I sat around and thought about every last thing I will do with him, I would never recover. And I don't mean that from like so I should never think about it. I'm not saying that to dismiss it. It's just like the other night I read a poem by this beautiful, anyway, I'll link it in the show notes, this beautiful book, like dedicate poems for moms. And it says something about the last time and I am weeping. So we allow for the emotions in the space for sure. I'm not trying to be classic 7, dismiss it. Emotions don't matter. They do. And your experience deeply matters.
What about, are there like, so one of the things I'm hearing from each of you is like the intuitive nature of deciding when to not wean. And I am constantly struggling with what's intuition versus just my anxiety in motherhood.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm just wondering, like, for the moms that are listening, are there any, like, is it truly just you have to go on your own journey and just pay attention and trust your intuition and it's okay to flip-flop even in one day? Or are there some questions to ask or things to consider if a mom is wondering, should I start weaning or not?
I mean, I think that the like strict parameters, really like one of the only ones that I can think of is, is baby over 12 months. We really want, breast milk or formula to be the, the first source of nutrition in baby's diet. And sometimes you have babies who are really taking to solids, like Meredith's kiddo. And then, I mean, I think about my kids, and they did not do well with solids. They took forever and were eating like little birds. And so I felt really pressured to continue. And I'm ultimately glad that I did because it became a different kind of relationship after we reached a certain point. But yeah, I really think that you just have to tune into, what do I want? What are my goals? You know, is this fitting into my life? And as long as it's working for you and it's working for baby, like you're not fighting baby to eat or anything like that, then it's, you can follow those intuitions and those cues.
That's
I think
awesome.
something too, Holly, when you said that, like my thought immediately went to like like the mom's mental health. And just like when it comes to feeding, I remember hearing somewhere, and Shelby, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but that there's a very strong correlation between triple feeding and postpartum depression.
Oh, interesting.
And that being because of lack of sleep. I mean, and because even when Meredith, when you said every 3 hours, like I was every 2 hours. My baby was so tiny. She had lost so much weight. Like it was every 2 hours that I needed to be
Wow.
feeding, like starting the feeding cycle all over again. And so it was like, I didn't sleep. Like,
Yeah.
I did not sleep. And so just that, like, and at one point, like, my pediatrician had called and she was like, listen, Hannah, like, you are not getting this like warm, like breastfeeding, nurturing relationship that you wanted. Your baby's getting breast milk, like you're pumping, like she's getting the breast milk. Go out and buy some formula so that you can take the pressure, like the anxiety off of you and take a nap. Like you need to
Mhm.
sleep because you're not getting what you wanted. Like you wanted this warm, loving relationship. And I
Yeah.
think just having somebody like be pretty direct with me, but also so honest. And she's someone I absolutely love. She's still our pediatrician. Like she's someone I hold so close to me because she was there in those crazy first months. But even just doing that, we kept that bottle of formula in the cupboard, like because it was like this safety net for me because it was like, listen, like this is so much pressure. You can take the pressure off of you. Let other people help. You're not going to make any milk if you're not sleeping. There was just so much stress that was in the middle of it that I needed somebody to be able to say, like, okay, we need to take care of you. This
Yeah.
is like, this has gone to a point that, like, your baby's fine in that she's getting enough, but you're not okay.
Totally.
That's so
And
good.
triple feeding is like an incredibly rigorous prescription for feeding baby and increasing mom's supply. So it needs to be done under like direct supervision from the prescribing, provider, be it your pediatrician or a lactation consultant. And it's amazing that she had clued into, okay, Hannah is really feeling stressed. She is not sleeping. She's not taking care of herself. And this is
Yeah.
really impacting her mental health. So it's great that she called in and said, hey, we can back off of this if you want,
Mhm.
because you taking care of yourself is most important. And you doing all of this, you know, destroying your mental health is not going to do your baby any favors.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. My dog is wanting to attack a cat on our patio right now. So apologies if
How
you can hear
dare the
that.
cat be there?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I just want every mom to hear of, like, that there are so many different ways it can look. There are so many different feelings around it. Like, for me, thinking I was holding it loosely because I'd had so many friends that had struggled with it, then going into it and being like, it's okay, it's not a big deal. And then it happens, and I was so frustrated because breastfeeding wasn't working. And then being the control freak nature that I am and realizing that she wasn't getting any milk from me. So then being so grateful for formula and pumping and all of that so that I could know, like, that she was getting exactly what she needed. And then being excited to end that journey a year in. I
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
pumping is
okay.
an entirely different animal than direct nursing. Like it is grueling work to pump.
Yeah.
So
Well,
especially
and
exclusively
it
pump.
was, yeah, and again, and I loved what you said, Meredith, too, of like holding both the grief and joy, because it was such an empowering, pumping for me was
Totally.
empowering. But anyway, my point is, I just want moms to hear, like, oh, there's so many different journeys, so many different ways to go about it, so many different feelings along the journey, and it's okay wherever you are on that spectrum and whatever you're feeling, and just to normalize it all. And that, yeah, healthy mom and healthy baby are the most important thing, and whatever that looks like for you, is the most important thing.
Totally.
Yeah. Anna, any other thoughts? Any thoughts you wanted to add?
I don't think so. My mind's just, no.
Where is your mind going, Anna?
Oh man. Yeah, back to a lot of trauma. Lots and lots of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fair.
Period.
Yeah, which is again why your story is so important and for all of our medical moms out there that are listening who, maybe feel like they were robbed of an experience that they wanted to have or had to go through trauma that the rest of us didn't and still do. And so that's why your story is so important too, Anna.
Yeah. I will say, Hannah, the middle of the night wake ups, we still use milk, cow's milk, but we use milk for those every single night still. So 4 years in.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
comforting.
working for you and your family, then it's working. And you don't have to change anything because it's your choice.
I know.
That's true. If it's working, it's working. Yeah. I think so too, though. It's so helpful to have the IBCLCs because, and someone that you're working with like so closely because it's someone that knows you really well and that is with you on this and can give you all this information and has all the information, right? It's not just one. I do remember being in the hospital and then it would be like one person would come in and they'd be like, do it this way. And then the next person would come in and be like, why are you doing it that way? You should be doing it this way. And then another person, I'm like, but I did this class before and they told me that, so you have all these like conflicting. And so that's that makes me have like one.
I'm so sorry. I'm interrupting you.
No,
I'm going back to what Meredith was saying at the very beginning, what are the common things that I hear, these common complaints? And like number 2 is I hear so many different things from all these different people and I don't know what to do. So I just quit or, I don't do anything or I, talk to my mom and, that worked for me. So yeah, finding someone who you trust, who you can work with from the beginning and have a continuous line of care can really, really be helpful in those hard moments.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shelby, where can people follow you? Where can they learn more about you and My Breast Friend?
So it's Supportive Breast Friend.
Oh, sorry. Supportive Breast Friend.
Supportive Breast Friend. Although I do want to be everybody's breast friend. I'm on Instagram at Supportive Breast Friend. I also have a podcast by the same name, Supportive Breast Friend. I am working on, I need to actually do my website. I don't have a website yet. And I won't be accepting paying clients. I do have a support group that I will be announcing more information on that on my Instagram. I don't have any future dates planned because I'm trying to work out some logistics, but that'll be on Instagram. Find me on Instagram.
Yay. I love it. It's
That's
such
awesome.
a good name. And your branding is even so awesome. It's like 2 boobs with, anyway, it's so good.
Yes,
did you come up with all of that yourself?
I did.
It's so
That's
good.
amazing.
I mean, middle of the night feeding brainstorming.
There you go.
Happening all those months ago.
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening to Get Mom Ready. Head on over to getmomready.com where you should subscribe because then you will get alerted of when we drop new episodes. You'll get all the show notes, all the links, everything, plus additional resources. Like just this morning when we were recording this, Meredith released 3 easy breakfast ideas and they were so good. I'm going to save that and because I am always like, oh crap, I forgot to eat breakfast. So anyway, we release additional resources like that throughout the month as well. So you can go subscribe to that at getmomready.com. Shelby, thanks for being with us.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you,
It was so fun.